It was 1923, and 98462 and 87546 had been on the railway for at least 2 years now. But the only thing that changed was the year. Their behavior still remained the same. They even got worse, as some of the engines quoted. However, more events took place. One event that would shape this story more was that Edward was being used less and less after 98462 and 87546's arrival. Most of the drivers wanted to use 87546 and 98462, Henry and Eagle, but Edward, no, he was just left in the shed most of the time, which made Edward feel very sad. Another event that happened was Henry getting shut up in a tunnel, which this is where we resume our story. One day, the engines were waiting in the yard for the new engine to arrive. Everybody was very curious on what this new engine would be like. Hopefully he's not as useless as those two over there, and not to mention the one that's in the tunnel and the one that's collecting dust at the back of the shed, said 98462. Quite right, replied 87546. Thomas and Eagle just sat there looking at the other two engines and just scowled. The only useless engines I see are the blue embarrassments over there, said Winston. I agree, said Thomas furiously. Oh, please, said 87546. It's in a matter of time before you end up getting replaced also, laughed the two engines. Thomas was about to lose his patience and say something when they heard a very unfamiliar whistle. That must be the new engine. Hopefully he's a good engine, said Winston, struggling with words. Soon, the new engine rounded the bend at a very high speed and made his way into the yard where the other engines are. Hello, Sodor. Your new engine is here, said the big blue engine. Hello, my name's Thomas. I'm Winston, said Winston. 98462 looked at the new engine in amazement. Well, look at that. Grizzly's newest prototype, the GNR A1. How impressive. And you must be a B12. Such fine engines on the NWR. It's like a train from heaven, replied Gordon. Welcome to Sodor, Gordon. But hey, why is your tender green, but you are blue? Asked the Fat Controller, puzzled. Well, they were about to paint me in your railway's livery, but they didn't get to finish the tender because I was needed right away, said Gordon. So that is why I look very patchworked. Oh well, no matter. I have your first test train. I'm gonna have Thomas get it ready for you, said the Fat Controller. That's if he doesn't screw it up, said 98462, snickering. Thomas heard this comment, but decided to ignore it. Yes, I'll go get your coaches together. And Thomas soon chuffed away. Thomas soon brought Gordon's coaches to the platform. They were shiny new express coaches. Hurry up, Thomas, I don't have all day. Hurry up yourself, said Thomas. What was that? Said Gordon. Oh, nothing. And with a toot of his whistle, Thomas rolled away in a hurry. Soon, Gordon backed onto the express in spectacular fashion. The passengers thought he was a magnificent sight. The audience seemed to love you, Gordon, said his driver. Well, let's give them a show, said Gordon. Gordon thundered down the line with extreme speed. The passengers were impressed. They had never seen an engine go this fast on the island. From the sheds, Edward could see Gordon run thundering past in amazement. My, who is that? Said Edward, watching from the shed. Gordon was making good time, which the Fat Controller liked. Soon Gordon arrived into the docks, where the last station was. He soon arrived into the platform with his coaches. A large cheer from the coaches was heard as he arrived. The Fat Controller stepped out of his coaches and congratulated Gordon. Gordon, not only were you traveling 100 miles per hour, but you got us here 15 minutes early. Winston wasn't due to leave another 20 minutes. You know what? I'm going to put you on the express. Why, thank you, sir. That is... Oh, I can't tell you how good that is, sir. Thank you. I won't let you down, said Gordon. As you surmised, 98462 was not happy about this. He thought he was the main express engine, and now that he was being replaced by Gordon, he was not happy at all. So after Gordon was put on express duties, 98462 was allocated to mixed traffic duties just like 87546, and he was not happy about this. It's degrading to just be pulling trucks and local trains. I was meant to be put on the express, he grumbled. But no one listened to him. The next morning, the two 98462 and 87546 were talking loudly. The Fat Controller spoke to me yesterday, said 87546. He says that I am doing very well on the railway. Huh, I've proven myself more than you did, said 98462. I am the one who started the express runs. Huh, what have you done but pull goods trains? Looks like someone's salty because they got replaced, said 87546, shooting back at him. Do stop complaining, you two. The sun is barely up, and some of us have places to be. Definitely not you, old iron, said 98462. 87546 soon left the sheds to go pull his local train. When 87546 arrived to the station, he was in utter disbelief. Where are my coaches? Said 87546. I'm guessing Thomas forgot to shunt them. No matter, we can get our own coaches. Huh! Scowled 87546 as he rode to the sidings. He was so angry that he wasn't focused on what he was doing, and he bashed into the coaches really hard. Oh, ow! Yelled the coaches. Oh, what? I barely touched you, said 87546. He biffed the coaches so hard that the back coach was partially derailed. Ugh! Growled 87546. You silly blue engine, said the yard master. You need to get back to your shed and tell them to send a proper engine. And 87546 reluctantly puffed away. He arrived back at the shed to hear the engines boasting about how superior they were to Edward. "The driver won't choose you again," said the engines. "They want big, strong engines, like us." "Oh, please, Edward built these rails," said Winston. "Without him, you guys wouldn't have a railway to be on." It's all right, Winston. You don't have to stand up for me," said Edward. "Yes, we do," said Thomas, puffing out of his shed. "You are an inspiration to this railway. They're just big blue jerks," said Thomas. "Mind your manners, young one, before you get scrapped," said 87546. Some time passed, and Edward was chosen to leave the sheds to pull one of the local trains that 87546 was supposed to take. It's safe to say that the other engines were not happy about this at all. Edward was enjoying his day out. He was finally glad to finally be let out the shed after several weeks, almost a month even. Also, in the latter half of 1923, Henry was finally let out the tunnel after Gordon burst his safety valve pulling the train. So Edward and Henry were tasked to get the train to the station. Henry was also glad to be out of the tunnel. He finally realized that the only way to secure his paint was to have a good washdown every night. And however, in 1924, we reached the year that we would see the last of 98462 and 87546. While Gordon was at the works getting his safety valve fixed, there was no one to pull the express. So the engine that stepped up, you guessed it, was 98462, determined to prove to the Fat Controller that he was worthy to pull the express. Time to show that Gordon what top linkage express is. And with a proud toot of his whistle, 98462 thundered off with the coaches, determined to prove how perfect he was for the express. 98462 thundered down the line at high speeds, determined to prove that he is much faster and stronger than Gordon. However, him trying to prove this would bite him in the tender. More on this later. Meanwhile, 87546 crept in the yard with a goods train. He saw Thomas over in the other siding, filling up on water, so he decided to hatch a very devious plan. 87546 requested that the signalman switch the points onto the siding where Thomas was. He did this because the signalman didn't know that Thomas was sitting on that siding. So 87546 hatched his plan into action. He jammed his train right into Thomas, sending him hurtling backwards and sending Thomas off the rails. Thomas was dazed and surprised, while 87546 laughed. "What happened here?" said the Fat Controller. "Oh, sir, Thomas was trying to be cheeky by trying to take my goods train away from me. So, in his folly, he reversed off the track," said 87546, coming up with a lie. "I did not, sir. He reversed his train into me, knocking me off the rails," said Thomas. "I don't want to hear it. Thomas, I've been hearing about your little tricks, and I am very disappointed in you." "You know what? I can't take this anymore," said 87546's driver. "Sir, Thomas didn't do anything. Thomas was just sitting in the siding, drinking water, and my engine backed his train into him, knocking him off the rails when I was busy. Oh, really? Said the Fat Controller. Well, that is unacceptable behavior, 87546. You are to go to the yard so I can deal with you. Yes, sir, said 87546. While this was happening, 98462 arrived back into the station early from his train. Look at that! On time and really reliable. Not to mention early, too, said 98462. Now that's what I call a very on-time engine, said Tim Topham Hatt. But hang on, I thought you had 3 coaches. 3 coaches, sir? And 98462 looked back and saw that he only had 2. Uh-oh, said 98462. Soon, Henry came in with his 3rd coach, full of angry passengers. We want our money back on this terrible railway, said the passengers. He left us behind, trying to leave the station very fast, said the passengers. Now, don't blame the railway, blame these engines, said the Fat Controller. I will give you our refunds, and I will deal with these engines. Rest assured, this will never happen again, said the Fat Controller sternly. Later at the shed, the Fat Controller had a stern conversation with the 2 engines. Now, doing what you did today was one thing, but I've heard about your behavior since you've been here, and to be honest, I am not impressed with it at all. But sir, said the 2 engines, no buts about it. Now, on this railway, we are a family. We do not talk about each other, nor do we do things to hurt one another. But sir, didn't I say no buts? Now, I will write my reviews later, but by tomorrow I want both of you off my railway and never come back. Yes, sir, said the 2 engines. The other engines were shocked by this. They had never seen the Fat Controller raise his voice like that, so it was a very surprising sight indeed. The next day, 98462 and 87546 left the island of Sodor. No one came to say goodbye to them because the engines wanted nothing to do with them. My word, they were very terrible, said Hero. Wow. Can I apologize for my actions during the 1960s again? Said Andy. No, you don't have to, said Edward. Compared to you makes you look like a box of puppies, said Winston. What happened to them? Said Percy. Well, from what I heard from Reginald, this LMS patriot I know, 98462 was returned to the LNER, but kept on goods duties because his act never improved. And as far as 87546, Gordon continued, 87546 was sent to work at a colliery where his negative attitude suited him, said Henry, interrupting Gordon. Good riddance. Do you think they're still in service? Said Percy. Edward and Winston looked grim. Well, said Edward, I doubt a fate would meet them there, said Edward. Well, Percy, continued Winston, I doubt whatever fate became of them was a great one.